In the last two installments of my cooking series, we looked at some normally occurring enemies in the Pikmin franchise that are quite prevalent wherever you may look. Today, however, is when we start to get exotic, without diving off the deep end. As you know, Louie loves to cook creatures for some reason, and so it was only natural that we'd turn to check out one of his recipes for a boss creature, and I can think of no better to start than the Burrowing Snagret. This serpentine-like bird hybrid is a member of the Snavian family, which, in contrast to the other two creatures we've done, possesses some unique character features that will surely invoke the taste of this beast. For starters, it's much larger, being that it's a boss creature, meaning we will have quite a bit of meat to work with here. Secondary, however, is that it spends most of its time burrowing underground. Whenever it resurfaces to catch its prey, it makes itself vulnerable for the catch. Even though there's a lot to work with here, let's go ahead and take a look at Louie's recipe card. Slice the serpentine torso into thin medallions, skewer in a metal rod with hokatat onions, and barbecue over an open flame. Well, looks like we're going to be grilling this beast up. And grilling isn't super hard if done correctly, but I've only done it a handful of times, so this will be my first attempt in quite a while, especially now that I've moved. I don't have a larger grill, so I'm not going to be using the conventional two-zone grilling method where one side is filled with briquettes and wood and the other is empty to allow a better transfer of heat. This shouldn't be a huge problem, however, because this is a fairly basic recipe that you can do at home, especially if you're good at grilling. Even if you're not good at grilling, it's not relatively hard to do. There isn't really much else to say on this recipe considering the standards, so let's go ahead and get to the meat of the video. Speaking of meat, let's take a look at the meat that we're going to be using here. These are tenderloins, more specifically Snagret, and I've also got some bonus ingredients here that we're going to be using to make a brine. Normally, cooking almost any meat on the grill dries it out, especially if you're making it well done to ensure there's no parasites left on it, and unfortunately that means no juicy meat flavor. So we'll be making this brine out of buttermilk, dillweed, and sage to give it a nice juicy and almost tangy flavor profile to make up for the loss of juice. Don't forget your sweet hokatashin onions, and that really is all there is to it. With your prep work now complete, it's time to begin the grilling process. First things first, we're going to cut our Snagret torso into chunks, or medallions, per the recipe. You really don't need this many Snagret torsos, and you can feel free to use more or less, cutting them to your desired thickness. I'm making mine a combination of nice meaty chunks and some more nugget-like pieces. Once that's done, we're going to move our chicken to the side, being careful not to break this giant piece of countertop doubling as a cook board, and then we'll bring out our old reliable to cut our onions. Now I'm going to remove the stem and the paper that covers this onion before we begin the slicing. Then we're going to simply cut our onions in half, and then cut our onion halves in half to quarter our onions up. This will make skewering them very simple and very streamlined. You may not need to, it depends on how many layers of onion you want to use on each skewer. I just found 2 to be the best amount to use. Next, our Snagret medallions are going to take a nice long 4-hour bath in our buttermilk brine. Now it can actually be as little as 2 hours if you want. It doesn't make a huge difference, just be aware of the changes you'll get to your flavor profile. We're going to go ahead and just toss them all in here, and then into our bag we will pour our full cup of buttermilk and about a teaspoon of dillweed and a teaspoon of sage, and that's really all there is to it. We're now going to shake the bag up good and gently massage our Snagret medallions, preparing to give them the best spa treatment of their life. Seal up the bag and now let our ice Pikmin take it from here. While our Snagret brines and gets ready to go on the grill, I went out to take a walk with my Pikmin, on Pikmin Bloom of course, since today that I'm filming this it's community day, trying to get as many Genetians as possible. Hashtag not sponsored. I just love doing wonders for my mental health by experiencing nature with some cute little guys. Once we make it back to Hero's Hideaway, we're instead going to make a detour to the Giant's Hearth and get our grill ready for some charcoal briquettes. I'm using hickory charcoal, but you don't have to use the same kind I can, and feel free to experiment if you have a particular charcoal that you like to use. Doesn't have to be the same kind, but hopefully in one way or another it'll add some flavor to our Snagret. After that, I'm going to get a fire started to let our charcoal warm up, and then I'm going to throw some hickory wood chips in as well to add a soft, smoky flavor. Once that's done, I'm going to leave the grill to heat up for about 20 minutes, and while that's taking place, I'm going to start assembling my Snagret skewers, first by taking our Snagret medallions out of the fridge and placing them in a bowl so the liquid can drain out a bit. Then I'm going to begin putting my ingredients on my skewers, alternating in pattern, starting with a piece of our brine Snagret torso, then a hokatashin onion petal, followed by another Snagret piece, and then rotating. You'll do this until you have no more ingredients, and in this case I had enough for 4 skewers that I was ready to take out to the Giant's Hearth for grilling. You'll have to excuse my really crappy lighting here because I forgot that daylight savings time was a thing and I don't have the proper lighting at this time. Off camera I threw a bit of salt and pepper on for good measure, and it's going to go onto the grill for about 6 to 8 minutes per side, totaling about 12 to 15 minutes total. I let them go for just a bit longer because I wanted to make sure my Snagret wasn't raw since I haven't grilled in forever. Once they're done oozing their buttermilk goodness and are cooked to your liking, it's time to remove them from the grill. These things smell about as good as they look, and the smell emanating from your grill will truly assail your nostrils. It's time now to plate up our Snagret skewers, and unfortunately my juice supply is dry today, so I'm gonna have to have a talk with Brittany about that one. But I do still have a piece of Crimson Banquet to enjoy instead. It is a perfect summer meal to enjoy despite it being the start of fall where I live, but I'm sure you want to know about the taste, and I'm gonna be honest with you, this is the best recipe I've attempted so far. I'm not sure what made it so good entirely, maybe it was the grilling materials, maybe the brine, or simply the combo of Snagret and onions. I'm truly not sure, but one thing is for sure, it was amazing. I would have had a dipping sauce to complement it, honestly, but other than that, it's a golden star for me and a clean pick kebab club member for sure. Okay, so I definitely think this is a food item that every Pikmin fan has to attempt to cook. It is truly the most genuine recreation of a Pikmin enemy that I can imagine. It's so simple to attempt and it's super delicious too. Very savory, very tangy, and the meat just melts in your mouth. And remember, you can do whatever you would like to do for this recipe. Mix up the brine technique or add different seasonings that you like that would work. Get creative and make the Snagret to your liking, because it will definitely work with what you give it. It's a very versatile dish. My only gripe is that I might have cooked it for too long, but I did that more as a safety measure to make sure my Snagret had no pink in it. But other than that, easily avoidable mistake, this is going to go down as the first official 10 Pikmin out of 10 for me. I seriously can't recommend this dish enough, and in fact I have a way to take it to the next level, but I'm going to probably save that for another video. As I mentioned last episode, if you guessed correctly on the previous video, you'd have your comment shouted out, and here it is. And of course, if you suggested the recipe, I'd also give you a shout out, so here's that too. Congrats on these two for making it to the Pikkai Hall of Screen fame. Be sure to leave a comment as well to guess which creature or plant I'll be doing next, and I'll shout you out if you get it right first. And of course, I want to give a super special shout out to my first ever patrons that made this episode possible, Crystal and Wave079. I seriously appreciate the support from you guys, and from all of you as well, especially for getting me up to 5k this fast. That's only about halfway to the water wraith, so you guys are going to have to step it up before the end of the year comes, but we'll see if we can actually get that high. Until that time comes though, my name is Pikkai, and I hope that in one way or another, this video brought you some joy. If it did, leave a like on this video and subscribe with the bell icon enabled so that you can be the first to know when I upload. Be sure to leave a comment to let me know which creature you want to see cooked next, and I'll be sure to take note of it when I see it. That's all for this video, but until next time, I'm Pikkai, and I hope you have an absolutely blessed day. Be safe, enjoy yourself, and thank you for watching.